The odds to win the 2022 NBA title are out, courtesy of PointsBet Sportsbook. The Nets are clearly the early favorites here, followed by the Lakers and Bucks. The Celtics way down on that list as they currently have the 13th best odds to win the championship next season. Chris Forsberg joining us right now. And Chris, after watching the Bucks last night win that title, what do the Celtics need to do in order to take that next step, Forsberg?
Yeah, I'm left, and as good as Giannis was, as Mannix correctly pointed out, they have more talent. The move for Jrue Holiday in the offseason after the 2020 campaign sort of helped them go over the top. And so now I look at the Celtics and I say, okay, how do they add their own Jrue Holiday? Now, they might have it in-house. Maybe that's Marcus Smart. But for me, it comes down to adding another player. And so you have two paths to that. You can either manage your cap space, and as early as the summer of 2022, you might have the ability to seek a max contract free agent or someone in the upper range near max level, and certainly in the summer of 2023. Or you splurge now. You re-sign Evan Fournier and you extend Marcus Smart and Rob Williams, and you have tradable assets. And then when the next disgruntled star becomes available, whether that's Bradley Beal or whoever, you're in position to go get them. But ultimately, the end game is, how do you add more talent to this roster? Because it just feels like there's not enough here right now. I'm intrigued to see what the mix is coming into this year and how they play in a more normal season. But I think ultimately it's on Brad Stevens to find that other piece to push this team over the top.
Yeah, and I agree, because I think signing Marcus Smart and, if you can, Rob Williams to extensions on more manageable terms, will help you in the long term as you try to look to make deals down the line. I mean, Jay Crowder, who passed through here, was one of the most valuable commodities in the NBA for a while because he had a very manageable contract. So if you can get these guys on good deals, I think a priority would be re-signing them. And I think the other part of it is, and it just sounds so simplistic, but if you're in charge of drafting, don't suck at it. Like, hit home runs on draft picks. I mean, this is like, Giannis was the 15th pick in the draft. Like, where would Boston be if they're like, I like that Giannis guy instead of Kelly Olynyk? Where would San Antonio be if somebody else picked up Kawhi Leonard beforehand? Like, every championship team that we can talk about has had strong success outside of the top 5 in the NBA draft. Draymond Green was the defensive soul of the Golden State Warrior championship teams. He was drafted in the second round. So, I mean, we can talk trades and free agent acquisitions all day long. It's fun to banter about. But what it comes down to is the successful teams are the ones that hit on draft picks.
Yeah, Chris Mannix, you definitely have a point right there. However, if it was easy, everyone would do it.
No. It shouldn't be easy.
It should be easy.
But this is your job. Like, this is your job. Like, I can't file a story. Chris Forsberg can't file a story that is hot garbage, because then we get fired. It's our job to write, at least digestible material. For a top basketball executive, you have to hit on draft picks. Hire staff, do whatever you want, but you've got to hit on draft picks. Look back at these drafts over the last 20 years. I've done it. It's a maddening proposition. But after the top 15, there's always 4 or 5 guys that are all-star or all-star caliber players. Hell, the MVP this year was a second-round pick. These guys are there. You have to identify them when you see them.
Forsberg, when you take a look at the Celtics adding that third star, you talk about either draft capital or throwing money and splurging. Which path do they take?
Yeah, so look, you can manage the cap and try to get to max space, and it's still really difficult. You'd still have to move on from Marcus Smart and Evan Fournier before that splurge could happen. So to me, it's more likely to be a trade. The other part of it is I look at the 2022 free agent list, and nothing really excites me, except if Bradley Beal opts out. And again, that might just come down to whether Jason Tatum really wants to play with him. And if that keeps Jason Tatum in green, I think the more likely path is you get into this year, you say, all right, what does this team lack? Do they need a playmaking point guard? Do they need an impact forward? Is Rob Williams not staying healthy enough? And then you target that player that best complements your pillars of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and you go make that move. And now, again, did the Celtics have enough assets to make that happen? You got to hope that teams clamor for your younger players. That's why draft and development is so important. And you've got to be ready to splurge as many assets as possible. That's why they traded the first round pick this year to free up the ability to move other picks moving forward. But Brad Stevens has a daunting task in front of him.
Yeah, I have to agree with you.
Go ahead, Mannix. Add one more thing. Like, I'm with you with transactions, Chris, like all that. But like, if you're Boston, you are just circling the Portland Trail Blazers like a vulture. Like you are just watching them and seeing what they do, because maybe Damian Lillard comes back next year to that team, but that's not a good team. And if that team starts out like, 11-20 or something as we get into January, they're going to be looking to make a move. And if they're looking to make a move and blow that whole thing up, I want to be first in line for either Damian Lillard or CJ McCollum with assets in hand when they decide to make that deal.
Who are you trading Jaylen Brown in that mix?
Well, I mean, if you're talking Damian Lillard, yes. If you're talking CJ McCollum, that's a deeper conversation. So, but either way, there's only a finite number of teams. Hold on. Oh, stop. He just turned 31 as a top 6 player. You can't have enough of those guys. Give me a break. Your window is right now. When you have a team like that looking to make a deal, you want to be out there with your assets. And there's only so many teams that the Blazers can trade Damian Lillard to. They're not trading him to Orlando. It's going to be a discussion with Damian Lillard where he wants to go to, and that would be a championship-level team that he wants to play for. And that would be Boston, Philadelphia, maybe Golden State. There's only a handful of teams I think can make a serious run at Damian Lillard.